Imagine that you're planning a vacation to Tuscany. First, you'd have to find a good flight. Then you would decide which cities to visit. You would probably look at several hotels. Then you might also want to rent a car and perhaps see if there are any local festivals or events you might attend. And after all, the flight is quite long, so you might buy a few books. Oh, and yes, you're planning this trip with your brother, so you must share your research and make decisions together. While finding a variety of information on the web has become easier, keeping track of what you discover and sharing that research with others remains difficult. In this paper, we present a system that makes the process of collecting, viewing, and sharing web content much easier. Our system has two key contributions. First, we present an interaction model for quickly collecting similar information from a website. Second, we present the gathered content in a compelling visual summary that is interactive and can be shared with others. Let's now follow this user as he plans his trip to New York. Our system is implemented as a browser extension, and the user can open the summary window by pressing the Start button in the summary toolbar. When he's ready to collect content, he presses the Select button, and every element on the page becomes selectable. As the user moves the cursor over the page, the elements are highlighted. To select a page element, the user clicks, then assigns an appropriate label to each selected element. Here he labels the name, address, price, photo, and rating of this hotel. The selected elements and their labels are added to the session summary. He can view the gathered content in different ways. Here he chooses the map layout. Now that the user has labeled one page, the system can automatically extract the same kinds of information from similar pages. When the user wants to add another hotel to the summary, all he has to do is click on the Add Page button to automatically add the same content to the summary. Actually, he doesn't even have to visit a page to add it to a summary. With the Add Linked Pages button, he can select links that point to similar pages. The content from the linked pages is then added to the summary automatically. Now let's take a closer look at how we make this happen. Every web page is represented by a tree of HTML nodes, and each node is of a certain type, such as a table or div. We can access this tree through the Document Object Model, or DOM. Every element in a web page then corresponds to a node in the tree. We use this DOM structure to provide selectable elements to the user. For a given selection, we build an extraction rule that corresponds to the path from the corresponding node to the root of the tree, and store the rule and corresponding page element. We build extraction rules for all selected elements and store the rules and page elements locally. The page elements are stored in a database according to the labels specified by the user. Now when the user goes to a new web page, each rule is matched against the new DOM tree. If there is a match, the matching page element can be stored. If there isn't a matching element, the rule is not used. We group the extraction rules into extraction patterns, and as the user creates new patterns, we apply the pattern that matches the highest number of page elements. To compose the gathered content into a visual summary, we use layout templates, which are defined with respect to the labels assigned by the user. Each layout template specifies how the elements are organized, the element formatting, and a set of interactions that define how the user can interact with the summary. Now let's go back to our user and his trip to New York. Our system stores extraction patterns from one session to another, so the user is able to easily add all of the key information from nyc.com entirely automatically, as he has visited this website before, and the system remembers how he labeled the elements of the page. Since the important elements include a date and time, the user can view the events he has gathered with the calendar template. This template is useful for summarizing events with respect to time. The user clicks on an item in the calendar to get a detailed description for the event. You might notice that the hotels he has already collected are not shown on the calendar because they did not contain a date and time. To see everything he has collected, the user can use the grid layout, which displays all the content selected in a simple grid. The user can go back to any visited page by just clicking on the link in an element. The user can always edit the extraction patterns by selecting additional content, in this case the address. The new page element, the address, is retroactively added to the summary from all the gathered pages. Now, since we have an address for everything, the user can view both events and hotels on the same map, even though they were found on different websites and include different types of content. In the map layout, a list of names appears at the top of the page. The user clicks on a name to see its details. The map itself is also interactive and can be used for navigating the gathered content. Our New York City tourist may also want to do some shopping, and with our interactive summaries, he can view his shopping list next to the events that he might want to see and the hotels where he might stay. The layout templates shown so far were designed for a typical monitor. However, layout templates can be defined for any purpose. The user can print out the summary or put it on a PDA and take it on his trip. The PDA layout separates the content into tabs and shows a tab for events, hotels, and shopping items. The print layout template formats all the content as a paper printout. And since the summary is just a web page, the user can easily share it with others. Our framework is applicable for a variety of tasks. Here we have collected several papers from Sightseer and are using the text layout template to keep track of references. The system we have described combines an intuitive user interface, automatic collection of similar content, and aesthetic layout templates to make the process of summarizing web browsing sessions much easier.